fast, they'll eat 2 cheeseburgers a day from McDonald's. Popeye, we ain't never tried her on here. But she'll eat 2 small cheeseburgers with mustard and ketchup every day. That little bit of bunch of new people. Where's Chip? There he is.
I'm early. That's it. I'm not late.
sit down yet.
I got 4 minutes to spare.
Hey, Smith. How you going? Been doing all right? Yep.
Busy. Got a new job.
Got a new job?
Yep.
What are you doing now?
Left Home Depot and I'm going to work with Ross Brothers.
Rouse Brothers. All right. That's good news. What do you think of this old store?
Oh, they're gonna make it up nice. Good. They're gonna make it up real nice. Yeah, it's a long commute. It's about a mile and less than half.
That's gonna be nice. Home for lunch, maybe?
No, probably not. I'm not working at the office.
I just did. All right, everybody seems like they're anticipating this. We're going to start about a minute early. If nobody objects, we'll start about a minute early. Any objections? Okay. Oh, somebody said no, don't start early? Oh, go. Okay, I thought you said no. Well, I'm sure glad to see all y'all here tonight. Nice crowd. Appreciate y'all coming out here. Although it could have been a rainy night, but it wasn't so far, so it'll be good to go there. Can everybody hear me okay? Betty, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? I'm trying to make sure everybody hears me. Okay. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. I mean, I don't talk very loud half the time, and I have never screamed yet. But I try. No, maybe not. We got a good sound system now, so it helps us a lot. I appreciate that too. And like I said, I'm glad to see everybody here. And we're going to start off with the prayer, and then we're going to have a pledge of allegiance. And tonight, I want you to do something a little bit different. As far as the prayer goes, I want you to all say together the Lord's Prayer. Let us pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Thank you. Let's pledge allegiance flag. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start off tonight with citizens' comments. We got a lot of people here, and probably a lot of people have a lot to say, so let's try to limit it to 3 minutes if we possibly can. Steve, you want to go first?
Can I say something before they, if you would, when somebody's up here talking, if everybody back here will not comment or talk or say anything while somebody's up here talking, and whoever's talking, please don't address those that's back here. Address the council. That way we can keep the comments civil, please. Thank you.
First off, I want to say,
Just Steve, could you state your full name?
Steve Gunner,
Steve Gunter.
5965 Carter Street.
Thank you, Steve.
I want to commend Dennis on the job he does. I don't think a lot of times people realize what he does. All the certifications, classifications, and everything he holds to do that job. I understand he needs some help. I'm just not sure how to go about it. I know a lot of people want a full-time mayor. I'm not 100% for a full-time mayor. I think if we get a full-time mayor, $67,000 is a lot of money for 3,000 people. Gainesville only has 45,000 people, or I say only 45,000 people is a lot of people, and their mayor don't pay for 55,000. That's public record. Anybody can go in there and look it up. I think Dennis probably needs some help. Like I say, I'm not sure how to go about that. I feel like Joe got voted in as part-time mayor, and I feel like he ought to do his term before y'all ever talk about a full-time mayor. Because I feel like if the full-time mayor is gonna have to help Dennis, they need to have the same classifications and certifications that Dennis has got. People don't realize this sewer and water is a safety issue. And it's for all of us, to keep all of us safe. And I got one more thing I'd like to say before I leave. I reached out to Tony Cornett, first time I've ever reached out to a city council person. And I appreciate him talking to me. We had a 45-minute talk. He enlightened me on some things. I hope I enlightened him on some things. I've lived here my whole life, originally from Tennessee, but I call this home. And I do like a small town environment. I know we're growing. And there's gonna be some give with some take. I just encourage everybody in the future to reach out to your council person. I'm as bad as anybody about getting on Facebook. Facebook ain't the place to do it. If you got an issue with this town, your butt needs to be right here, talking to them people right up there. You need to stay off Facebook, because that's where your rumors start. There's a lot of accusations made on Facebook that's not true. And I was, like I say, I was enlightened on a lot of this stuff by talking to Tony. And I appreciate y'all letting me talk. I'm gonna excuse myself for health issues, but like I say, I appreciate everything y'all do for us. Have a good night.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Steve.
Next. All right, Mordecai, go ahead.
This issue is why public meetings with city officials are necessary. Regardless of the position or status, everyone wants to plan for the future and to have the opportunity to be a part of the planning process that will ultimately affect them and the future of our city. Meetings held behind closed doors don't afford us the chance to offer our input about the decisions affecting us. Are you only willing, seeking, and selling for things that will benefit you and your desires, or are you truly concerned with taking the steps to make decisions that benefit all? This need to know is reason why we attend city council meetings, which have always been open to the public as well as they should be. Citizens like myself and others want our city officials to start asking and seeking information from us as to what we want to see happen to improve our city. There should be no reason this cannot be done openly. We are living in a time of great change in our area, and the underlying problems that develop in the midst of swift change must be addressed. You will represent the cities of Lula to ask us, and we will tell you our concerns. No matter how we get our feelings hurt or feelings insulted in life, we must find a way to repair it and keep going for the good of all involved. When we do this, a better outlook on life and the peace of mind that we so desire will follow. It is far more important what God sees in us than what our fellow human beings see on the outside of us. Don't let people put a negative label on you, because that is what people that don't like you all of us have a choice to make. Do we want God and the better things of life to be cast on the garbage heap? There are times when you will leave some people behind because their way of thinking just isn't right. Press on towards the positive and productive goals that make all of us better. It is past time for all of us to awaken and start moving forward to accomplish the goals that really matter. Please don't forget what and why you were elected. You were elected to serve the people and implement a plan to improve everyone's life, just a few. I want to tell each and every one of you how much I appreciate your concern, love, help, and devotion. Do what you must for the people, all the people, and by the people. How you respond to an offense will determine your future. Remember, there will always be those who offend or disagree, but don't stop striving for success. Expect the unexpected because that's what you will eventually face. Don't neglect to tell yourselves or your children to expect the unexpected things to come in their lives, and don't give up because of failure, but keep trying and you will be successful in your endeavors. Also be careful of people in your life and try to discern whether they are providing accurate information and advice for the benefit of all, for their own benefit. Are they offering a sweet aroma of encouragement or a foul odor of defeat? Just remember that sometimes adversity can lead you to a better place and condition if you meet it head on with faith in God and fortitude. So don't let bitterness, doubt, discouragement stop you from going for things of higher value. Thank you.
Thank you, Mordecai.
Thank you, Mordecai.
Next. Yeah, Roy, go ahead.
Greetings, my name is Roy Hall. I live at 52 Mountain View Parkway. And first of all, I'm here as a man of God. I'm not here to speak evil against anybody, and I pray that this is what I'm going to say is not towards anybody personally, but I've noticed some things and I've made some notes to try to stay on track. But I pray that God bless y'all, that He make His face shine upon y'all and give you peace, first of all. The first thing I'd like to address is in the recent weeks, the false narrative that's in the Times of the accusations of unwanted physical contact. So here we are. My understanding, I know the investigation is public now, so it's okay to talk about it. It's obviously in the newspaper. So now it's gone from what it was and what the results of the investigation, which there was no findings, the investigation was settled. In my understanding, the GMA instructor said that everybody should be treated equally because nothing was found. So that ain't happening. People are not being treated equally. This is not a complaint in the investigator's report. Second, there have been accusations that a certain council member was responsible for the $8,000 for the investigations when the fact is the complainant has caused the expense. When someone makes an accusation, the public, that automatically triggers an investigation. That person is triggering that investigation is costing that money, especially when the person is not to be found guilty of anything or really wrongdoing that the people in these investigations. So, when a person makes calls investigation, no wrongdoing is found, and in fact, the person who has started the process has caused this expense. Now, I'm not saying that if as an employee of the city, now the employees of the city and the public are treated differently. That's true, and that was brought up in the GMA thing. And so, I think there should probably be some kind of agreement that if someone brings a frivolous accusation that turns out that there's no evidence, broad preponderance of evidence, that nobody's been convicted or accused or anything's been found wrongdoing, then maybe that money should be charged back to the person forbids public funds from going to a nonprofit. And I think Mr. Joy has confirmed that to be a line in the Georgia State Constitution. So I understand that a resolution was passed back in 2020 or whatever. But why would you pass a resolution to give public funds when clearly in this Georgia State Constitution prohibits that from happening? Why would you pass something to break the Constitution and do this? Secondly, I asked him about, because he never talked about the funds in the audit. Where is this money coming from? Which account is this money coming from? He told me that had that money showed up in the audit, in the bookkeeping, in the finances, that he would have flagged it and asked about it. So I asked him, where did that money come from? Where's it coming from? Which account? He couldn't tell me. He said he didn't know. That, to me, makes my flag go up. That means that money is being moved around. And then I asked him, I said, well, is there an account that the city manager or someone could have access to for expenditures or whatever without being accounted for? And he said, absolutely not. Every dollar that comes into the city as public funds has to be accounted for. Every dollar. That means if money goes to any nonprofit, and I'm not targeting these people, I'm for historical societies. I hope they do a great thing. I'm just saying, I'm stating the law as an owner of a nonprofit myself, that this goes against the Georgia State Constitution to use public funds to go to a nonprofit. Period. End of story. So that tells me that previous council members, possibly previous mayor, has been involved in breaking or encouraging to break the Georgia State Constitution. Anybody can go online and read the Constitution. I pulled it up. There's 100.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
Anybody's welcome to do that. It is in the Constitution. And that's really pretty much all I have to say. I would like to know, personally, as a concerned citizen, how come that money that's gone to this nonprofit has not showed up in the audit? That money is supposed to be accounted for.
Mr. Mayor, may I address that?
No, sir.
I make a motion to be able to address that. He's making an accusation that is false. I need to address that.
It is. It actually is
The,
false.
the city council paid no monies to that organization in 2022. That's why it's not on the audit, period.
No, that's.
Well, that's the truth. So before you come
Let's
up
don't
and
let's
making
don't argue this,
accusations,
people. This is citizen comment time. This is citizen comment
if the
time.
citizens
Do
are
not
gonna make
debate it.
comments,
Do not debate it.
point of order.
Do not
Point
debate
of
it.
order.
You're out of order.
He's out of order.
I make a motion.
It's citizen comment time.
I make a motion against the mayor for my out of order. Can somebody second that?
I'll second that.
Can we vote on that?
Yeah.
Can we vote on that?
Can we?
No.
Joey?
We vote on that?
Are you appealing the?
I am appealing his objection to me for being out of order.
Wait a minute. Let's back all the way up. Here's what I recommend. The short answer to your question is yes, but at this point in the agenda, we're at public comment. The gentleman has made some fairly serious accusations
Yes.
that I
He has.
also request the opportunity to address. But the gentleman deserves his opportunity, I believe, at this point in your agenda, to finish his comments. And then, Mr. Mayor, because of the seriousness of the accusations, I do request that you allow some statement to be made immediately following these kinds of comments.
That's what I thought.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Roy. Okay, who wants to address it? Now, I think Chip's got something to say first.
My apologies for my heated state of mind right now. I find it very offensive when the people of this community want to go simply on hearsay of what is happening. Sir, it is hearsay because the fact of the matter is the society that you're talking about, the nonprofit that you're talking about, is the Historical Society, which has received $0 funds for 2022. Zero. That's why it's not in.
I'm not talking about 2022. I'm talking about in the past.
You asked about the audit, which was for 2022. He had no answer for you for 2022 because there was none there.
Stand corrected for 2022.
Then please make sure that before you bring in such serious accusations,
Stand corrected
thank you.
for 2022. But would you agree that in the past, money has gone?
I
Yes.
do. However, I would also agree that your information that you've gotten, the information that you have received about what's legal and is not legal is incorrect. And I will rely on Joey later to inform you on what the law is. No, sir, you don't. Trust me.
Can I get back to citizen comments now? Are you through with my meeting?
Sir, it's not your meeting, it's our meeting, and I'm done with my statement.
I am in charge of conduct this meeting. It's my meeting. The mayor is to preside over the, according to the charter, the mayor presides over the meetings. It is my meeting.
Meeting's out of control.
I lead the meeting. Now, that's what the charter says. We're going to, if we don't want to throw the charter out, let's throw it all out completely. I mean, I don't think that's what we want to do. All right. June, please. Please, June.
Where you want to speak? The
I'll hold mine.
Let him speak, please. Let her speak.
My name is June Vincent. I live at 4719 Old Cornelia Highway. I have been a member of the Historical Society for a long time. For the last 2 years, I have been the treasurer. And if I don't know if the
Address us, please. Please address us.
I'll tell you this. The city has not given us any money. I don't know where that came from, but I was the treasurer. I took in every penny that was brought in and put in the bank. And I have books, which Chip's daughter now has, because she's the new treasurer, every penny. And we quibbled over 3 cents at our last executive meeting, because I missed 3 cents out of a treasury fund. That's how honest I kept the books. And I would like the rumors to stop. And I have some other comments that I'll make at the end of the meeting about some other things. But when you accuse somebody of dishonesty, please
No,
keep your
no, 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 no. Talk to us. Don't debate it. Talk to us.
Yeah, I would stake my life on my reputation. I've never even had a speeding ticket. I mean, I have no reason to hide funds.
Thank you, June.
And I don't mean to sound mean, but I don't like, and I like your haircut, by the way.
Thank you. Butter me up, right? Maybe calm down. Thank you, June. Appreciate that. Okay, Amanda, your turn. That's Amanda Browning, 5667 Julian Ball Road. For the record.
Okay. I was thinking today of what I would say. I was thinking as a woman, as the owner of a local business, was it even wise to speak up? You might ask why. Why would I not stand up to speak? That could be summed up in one word: intimidation. Intimidation that leads to retaliation. I know of other businesses in town that have been targeted. Targeted if they disagree with our current mayor or any of his known associates. You've watched at meetings, you may have even read in the Gainesville Times. Our local residents, property owners, and even our councilwoman have been singled out and targeted. So why take the chance? Because I've taught my children, you never allow someone to bully you. I've been a resident of Lula since 1993. I started my first successful business here in 2000. This is my home. This is where I work, and this is where I have raised my 5 children. My granddaughter even attends Lula Elementary. Having said all that, I have never been more disappointed in our mayor than I am right now. Your representation of our home has been tarnished in a way that will take years to erase. In the history of Lula, we have never had a 45-page investigation. We have never had sexual harassment reported, and we have never been put in the Gainesville Times for so many disconcerting stories. You may be saying this is all opinion. Well, let me leave you with a direct quote from our Mayor Thomas, as reported by the Gainesville Times. This was at the sexual harassment training at the expense of taxpayers. Thomas took on a more trivial tone when posed with a hypothetical scenario of a female co-worker bringing a male a bouquet of flowers on a regular basis, to which the mayor responded, "If she's good looking, yeah. If she's ugly, oh no." Does this sound like a man who took the situation of training for sexual harassment seriously? Sounds to me like a man who doesn't take governing our town very serious at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. All right. Who's next?
Amanda for mayor.
Robert Grizzle, 6400 Narrowmore Way.
That's right. Thank you, council. Thank everyone for being here. Thank you for long comments. Chip, you done took some of the words out of my mouth. We the people, the citizens of Lula, we live in the Lula city limits, county of Halls, state of Georgia, United States of America. We don't live in Moscow. I was stating this back in July of last year. I'd like to commend our city manager on the work that he did leading to that 45-page investigation, because I asked that it be taken serious, and I felt that it was. The results of it I don't feel by the administration's taken very serious. They wield a big broom and a large rug to sweep it up under. It's done for my investigation and for the second investigation of sexual harassment. While we're on that, I'd like to point out something that was pointed out in July of 2022, before this allegation, which by the way is on video, of sexual allegations against a female employee. A big concern of ours that that same city council person, and he still obtains them to this day, pictures of our two granddaughters, at the time 11 years old, 4 years old, in bathing suits, and he's taking pictures of them beside our house on Belton Bridge Road, and still obtains those pictures, and now he's got allegations of sexual and they're swept under the rug too. Also would like to make another comment, two comments now that we've heard other comments. We have a right to file a formal complaint here in the city of Lula without persecution, as somebody else has just pointed out. Maybe they should be charged with frivolous lawsuits. It's the statute of every city. Oh, we didn't find any wrongdoing, but then they try to make it right. Generally, that's the way it goes. They make it right, and they do the right thing. Now, again, we don't live in Moscow. It's, in other words, going on those comments, keep your mouth shut, you take the bullying, you don't speak up, and you let it be. Well, we the people of Lula are not going to let it be. I know the citizens are behind us all the way on all of this. I would also like to report at this time, most people probably read that newspaper report that I had my picture in the paper on and thought that it was for an interview with me. It wasn't. Anybody's welcome to ask him, Brian, he's here. He didn't interview me for that report, or that article rather. It was done from the report. It wasn't done from an interview with me. I did speak with Brian after the report had already, or article had already been written. It wasn't done by talking to me. But everything gets swept under the rug. And it's time for it to stop. It is time for it to stop. And to even make the comment, we should keep our mouth shut for fear of persecution. Listen to that and let it ring hard in your ears. Let it ring real hard that what was said here tonight by citizens, that we should keep shut. Now keep in mind, it's easy to come to your own conclusion on any allegation. But you know what? And I have it on good effect from the person. I investigation report? The answer was no. I don't need to read it. Well, maybe you should read it. I think every citizen in the city of Lula, and I'm gonna do my dangest to do it, to get them a copy of it. They don't have to come here and get it. I'll print it and I'll do it myself. And another thing, this historical society, why is it still being brought up the way it is? I think we'd settled that they would get to use the depot, am I correct? I think they should have a 100-year lease at $1 a year. And I'll pay that $100 right now, so it can be put to bed. I'd ask for that to be voted on, that it be approved. Here's the money, I'll put my money where my mouth is, I'll pay for the Historical Society, what they agreed on, what was agreed on here for the next 100 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Nobody else? That's all we got. All right, Joey, let's get clarification here.
Just as a matter of the legal issues, first of all, the law mandates investigations in certain situations, and in fact, the city policy mandates investigations in certain situations, and if those investigations are not permitted, the law deems that retaliation. So, as y'all learned in the training, when investigations are made, particularly as it relates to public employees, that's a cost of doing business, and I would strongly discourage every way I can to tell council you cannot disallow an investigation and you cannot even consider punishing a person who makes a complaint that the law permits without going through the investigation. So that's just a cost of being in government. The gratuities clause that was referenced and the contention that any payment to any nonprofit is always illegal is just not the law. Everybody can have their opinion about the law, but there's case law that describes it. When council has approved any funding for any historical society activity in the past, you have resolutions, and council, before authorizing that expenditure, would specifically find that the historical society provides substantial benefits to the health and welfare of the city and city residents by conducting and holding festivals and activities that increase tourism and business activity within the city, which increases city revenue, or words to that effect. You will find that local governments provide space for what would otherwise be exclusively nonprofits in exchange for that nonprofit providing substantial benefits to the local government. I was looking on my phone, not because I wasn't interested, but I was trying to pull up a memorandum that I have provided to the city regarding this issue as it relates to gratuities, and I just mentioned that now because those words are in the Georgia Constitution. I have provided those to you, but there are circumstances under which a local government can provide for a nonprofit as long as the government receives those substantial benefits.
Thank you, Joey. Okay, on with the other things on the minutes from the last meeting. Has everybody read their copy of them and got anything they want to add to them or change them? I'll entertain a motion to adopt them.
I make a motion to adopt them.
Motion made by Gene Brown to adopt the minutes. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
A second by Garnet Smith. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. This is both meetings, by the way, December 19th and January 10th. I've got to sign these while I've got them in front of me. Thank you. Okay, the Yard of the Month recipients. It's January. It's not as pretty as it is in May or June, something like that, but we got some yard of the months anyway. District 1 is Johnny Lee and Tammy Moon at 6050 Tomb Street. District 2, Michelle and Tracy Gross, 5364 Morgan Manor Drive. District 3, Walter Rucker, 6177 Chattahoochee Street. District 4, Javier Seller, 5158 Mountain View Parkway. District 5, Adrian Davis, 104 Brookside Place. Okay, Dennis.
All righty, a little levity. News is we'll only be here for about another hour going over the finances. I'm just kidding. So we are 26 weeks, actually 27 weeks into the fiscal year from when this P&L statement was last pulled, which would suggest that we should have 48% of the net revenue remaining. You're going to hear us talk about two of our funds that we call operational, the general fund and the utility fund. So bear in mind, we should be at about 48% remaining on revenue. We actually are at 52% percentage in revenue. We've made some adjustments, as the council knows, because the American Rescue Act, which is $552,000. We don't want to distort that number, so we are on track where we should be. The third and the fourth quarter, which we just entered in the third quarter, are generated a vast amount of dollars. Matter of fact, a lot of local governments that have a fiscal year that runs from July 1 through June 30th find the first two quarters rather tough, mainly because they're dependent on property taxes. Well, ironically, we're not dependent on property taxes, and we skated by the first two quarters as we should. That being said, I always make the same remark. It's not how much you bring in, it's how much you spend in your own household. So we should be accommodating it as well. Year to date right now, where we should be again at about 51% of the budget left, we're at 48% in expenditures, which leaves us with a positive cash flow of $33,820. Don't anybody go spending that yet. Unfortunately, with the third and fourth quarter comes expenses that we generate in those quarters. In the utility fund, the good news is, again, where we ought to be at about 48% remaining, we actually, we made some adjustments. Anybody wants to make a remark? We forecast for tax funds $125,000 this year. Watch how this can get distorted. We collected $386,000. So that number would distort the revenue, and that money actually goes in a separate account, which I'm going to pull up in just a second. So you can see where if you left that number in, what we do is we back out that number, we put only in the number of $125,000. That leaves us with revenue of $602,224. Always stop right here to talk about the important things, whereas tap fees don't pay operations. Those are set aside. Thank goodness the council has had the wise decision to set that money aside so it doesn't bite us in the hind end later on when we have to make capital improvements. So we pay a lot of attention to the water and sewer revenue. And right now, we're fine as year to date. But I'll remind everybody that these are the winter months, so those numbers fall off. One of the other things I want to point out, but let's talk about the expenditures again. And we've had some expenditures. We made an adjustment because we made some payments on sewer line I. You'll hear about that in just a second. If we ever stop raining, we might get it done. But anyway, when we balance that out, we're at about 48% remaining of the budget for expenditures, which, flipped over the wrong page, leaves us a positive cash flow of about $98,843. So, as we sit here today, we have 11 funds, bank funds, and as you can see, the activity takes place for the most part in the operational funds. They make capital improvements regularly. An example is, you'll hear me talk a little bit more about sewer line I, which is $2 million. If it'll ever stop raining, we're putting in another well with the hope that if that's successful, all the intricate details of that well could cost as much as Financially, bank balances remain constant, as we spoke about in the last meeting. And I will entertain any questions from the council.
I've got a couple.
Sure.
General fund received year to date.
So if you want with numbers in with 552,000, or do you want without?
No.
$787,177.
And expenses?
Expenses on that, not adjusted, $753,357.24.
Okay. I understand a whole lot better. Money in, money out.
You want the
Yeah,
utility fund?
no. Okay, well, here.
Yep, $602,224.
Okay.
You want non-adjusted, because we had those capital expenses in there.
Yeah.
If it's adjusted, it's $503,381.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. To me, it's easier for me to see it that way.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody's got any questions? Water system. Water sewer, current conditions.
So current conditions, good news, we talked about last week how the how the freeze back at Christmas impacted the city. Hats off to council for dealing with that. Water system, we've had now a total of 9 requests, for billing requests for credits. We went to the committee for a recommendation on that, and the committee came back. Do y'all want to address this? Joe, do you want to address it?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Here, I can give you a copy of it. Items 1 through 4 is what I had sent y'all the memo.
Okay, what the committee said was this: the credit. This is for the credits by request for water usage, and the committee proposes this: the credit has to be requested by the customer no later than the end of this month. The credit can only be used for December billing. The credit can only be offered for those that had 10% increase in water usage for December. Any leak obviously had to be fully repaired. If the customer satisfies all these requirements, the credit's going to be $20. Now that's what the committee recommended doing, and any more discussion you want to do about this? All in favor of this recommendation, say aye.
You have to have the first and the second.
The committee doesn't count.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Second it.
All right, motion made by Chip Horson, second by Garnet Smith to accept these credits for the water usage. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay, the credits are issued. $20. So only 9 of them right now, Tangy. Right now.
Unbeknownst to the audience, not everybody may know, we had some vandalism that we suspect took place on the county line tank, probably New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, where somebody shot a hole in the county line tank. It's not as easy as to fix as one might think. Anyway, it's a glass line tank, and it's especially to make that repair. We were fortunate enough, it's not like there's companies that work throughout the southeast that do that. So we were fortunate enough to get a crew in here last Thursday to make those repairs to the tank. That came at a cost, I'll remind the council, of $6,600. And so the question is, was that budgeted? Well, we didn't foresee that, so I think we're okay on line items. We'll adjust that through the year, but I ask you to just keep that in the back of your mind, that that's the type of event that we're fortunate that we have some flexibility with the budget. Wastewater treatment issues, we did experience some problems in the deep freeze that we had, where it went down to 3 degrees. Wasn't that fun? Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, I reminded council, we got those repairs taken care of. I haven't seen all the invoices on it, but we were lucky to get repair crews to come out. We continue to struggle with ammonia. We just got some, what we call a CRT report today, and about the makeup of our waste systems. I don't want to put anybody to sleep, but considered proposed tap fees increases, where we've looked at a study that was done a couple of years ago. And so what is that? We call them TCRs, which is transmission capacity and reserve capacity, and that's for both water and sewer, so you understand it. So when, as you heard me mention in the finance report, we have dollars that we set aside, correctly so, when improvements have to be made to the system, or maintenance has to be done to the system, the council has that option of approving those. So, I mentioned last week being kind of a good example, it doesn't matter what it cost us yesterday to build infrastructure. What matters is what it costs us tomorrow. An example is, 12 years ago, we built, almost at the new waste treatment plant. Obviously, it's not new, it's 12 years old. But 12 years ago, and that was at a cost of over $12 million, and we were lucky we got a big grant that helped offset that cost. To replace that today would be almost $24 million. So you'll see a lot of communities right now, certainly north of here, because their permit requirements are making them upgrade plants, that they're experiencing a wide-eyed experience where they're having to realize the cost of capital improvements, not only in this day and time where things have gotten rather expensive, as you've experienced at home, but same is true for us. So in our case, when we look at the TCRs, or for the common name, a lot of people call them tap fees, the council is considering what's the cost to replace that infrastructure tomorrow and continue to make improvements. And you only recently saw our friends at the City of Flowery Branch had proposed a big addition of $27 million, only to have the bids come in at $53 million. So they're having to rethink their entire approach to that. And I'm not gonna tell you that wouldn't happen here. I'm gonna tell you with the wise judgment of the council recognizing cost continues to increase, you don't wait until you get slapped in the face with it the next day. So, in the month of February, Joey, if I can find my notes, on February, if I can put on my glasses, 13th and 20th, right, Joey? We're gonna have two public hearings.
Yes.
On the increases that are being proposed by the city council for the TCRs of tap fees.
Can we say now what those proposals are?
I've got the numbers.
I've got them right here. The water tap fee is proposed to go from 800 to 1,500, and the sewer tap fee is proposed to go from 5,000 to 7,500. This is okay. This is new residential construction. That's what the proposal is going to be.
That's
So,
based on what we know today.
right.
The only other thing I have, and I mentioned to the council, we have they're gonna be attending tomorrow as well, is we have a sewer wastewater forum tomorrow that'll be participated by the city of Gainesville, city of Flowery Branch, and the city of Lula, with regards to future needs. Fortunately, we've done our homework on that, so, and y'all have heard that. We know what our future needs are. We know when, hopefully, we can understand when the triggers will come with the continued growth. That's all I've got.
Those three cities involved, is that because they dump it to Lanier?
It's all because, yeah, they have permits
To dump it to
discharging.
Lake Lanier, Chadwick area. I just want to make sure that's the reason that those three were selected and nobody else.
Well, it's primarily, Mr. Mayor, just for your understanding, that's the Chamber of Commerce is putting that on.
Yeah, okay.
It's more about economic development. So the city of Beaufort, the city of Cumming, Forsyth County, and the city of Gwinnett County also has permits to discharge into Lake Lanier as well. I didn't want you to think those were the only.
Okay. Yeah. Okie dokie. The qualifying fees for this year's elections. Let's see if I've got that written down somewhere here. I don't have it written down in front of me, I don't think.
Last week, the discussion was $100, which is what it was last year, Mayor.
Yeah. And does anybody want any more discussion want to be done about this qualifying, we also set the qualifying dates, no,
We can, and because we would, Tangi and I need to communicate with, we're gonna go to Hall County, and they're gonna ask that. Staff is requesting that it be the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of the week of qualifying, which I believe is August the 25th.
yeah. Okay, so we're gonna, at least we're gonna set the $100 qualifying fee. I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion
To-
to do the $100 qualifying fee.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made by Denise Shockley, second by Chip Horst for a qualifying fee for this year's election by $100. This is for 3 council seats, districts 1, 4, and 5. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay. That gets us down to the public safety. Public Safety Committee is considering, and I think we're going to get Joey's help on this to write it, a parking ordinance for downtown Atlanta, for downtown Gainesville. Downtown Atlanta, don't I wish? Don't we wish you had a parking ordinance down there? A parking ordinance for downtown, and you'll get back to us about that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, appreciate that. And the bid.
This isn't just downtown though, is it? And that,
Just,
for the
I'm
city-
just
sorry,
remember,
yeah, for the
we were
city, I'm sorry, for the
discussing where
city.
we had some
Yeah,
issues
it's
for
for the, I'm sorry,
residential.
I misspoke.
Right.
It's for the whole city,
Right.
parking everywhere
I
in the
just
city.
didn't want people to,
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay.
The main area, Mayor, where I'm working on is that, whatever towing policy, I just want to
Right.
make sure I give y'all a number of options before you decide to include, or what you want to include as a towing policy within a parking ordinance.
Thank you. And how we're coming on the bid document for street resurfacing, we got,
They still haven't,
not marked.
I met with the engineer today, and if it'll ever stop raining, they can probably nail down all the linear lanes,
okay.
so.
Well, I did get an email from, Frances Banks this week.
Right.
She mentioned it during the work session last week, and she sent me an email this week. I would like to ask if current Mayor Joe Thomas be asked to step down from his position. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong email. Here it is. Over the years and through the past mayors Milton and Greer, I've made requests to have the Island Circle paved. I've received numerous reasons in the past. I want to again ask the city to consider paving all of the Island Circle. It's a rock road at this time. We now have more traffic on the street, including but not limited to trash collection, mail person, UPS deliveries, Amazon, City of Lula throughout the day, tractors tending the fields, and also from the people who live in the Island Circle. I've also have a home business and have people come to my home. I believe in the long run it would save the city money as it would be less upkeep of grading and replacement of rock on the road, which is being maintained properly. Now, the street committee has heard this request. If they have not, they heard it last week at the work session, and that's another consideration. So we still got to get them marked and got to decide which ones we want to do. Have we come up with any kind of list at all for these?
We have a list that y'all prioritized, and that's where we're taking the numbers from.
And Blue Island Circle not on that list, is that correct?
Not for continuation of resurfacing, no.
Mainly due to usage.
That was, well, when we addressed that issue, Lou Island Circle along with the others was considered. And then we gave you information the other day about after, Ms. Banks made her request of the cost. We can revisit that if you'd like through committee once we get the numbers.
The list of roads in the city is broken down as a traffic volume, high to low, for 2 years ago, and for 2020, for 2022, is last resurfaced in the rating addition from 1 to 10, 10 being good, 1 being bad, and the Island Circle falls way down to 1 on the traffic flow, and up at 7 on the condition of the road. So that's why it's not on the list. Very little use. And
May I ask a clarifying question, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
This is the road that we're talking about, that last meeting we had
Yes.
someone come up and
Yes.
speak.
Yes.
And then I think we briefly spoke about that later in the week, last week. I just wanted to make sure that is the same.
That's the same
road.
one, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes, got that done. The documents. Okay, the residential building requirements.
So we had taken that, recommended that go back to committee, and we haven't had the opportunity for that committee to meet, if you remember.
That's what I thought had happened to. Waiting on committee. We'll try to schedule a meeting sometime.
Amen.
Wish us luck, right? Well, since after the holiday, now we might have better luck.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, the Parks and Festival Committee, still got to meet about that one too, don't we?
We had, if you remember, we
Do-
talked, y'all brought that up after the finance committee, the previous week. That's why I put that on the agenda.
So it's still got to go to a park.
Up to y'all. We still haven't met with, as far as depot usage, and remember, we were gonna revisit that.
Yeah, that's-
And you brought up, or I think Gene might have brought up Lula ladies in the historical society at that last meeting we had.
Yeah. Okay, the comprehensive plan update for the land usage. The steering committee meets Thursday, the 19th. Yeah, Thursday the 19th at 6 o'clock, right here.
Right here.
Okay. Okay, the city appointments. Now, I don't know. I'm open to suggestions about this. If anybody has a recommendation for Mayor Pro Tem?
I'd like to appoint Denise.
All right. That's Garnet. Anybody else got a?
Is that a motion?
This motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Motion made by Garnet Smith and seconded by Chip Horst to make Denise Shockley Mayor Pro Tem. Any more discussion on it? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, Denise, you still got it. Okay, how about the city attorney? Any discussion about that one? I submit, but keep the same one.
I'll make that motion. Give the same attorney.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made by Gene Bramlett, seconded by Tony Cornett to keep Joey as the city attorney. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Okay, city clerk, Tangi?
I'll make the motion. She stays city clerk.
I'll second.
Motion made by Gene Bramlett, seconded by Denise Shockley to keep Tangi as city clerk. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. City judge, Hammond Law. I suggest we keep him. Do I hear a motion for that? Somebody want to change?
I don't have a motion, but I do have a question about that for the city judge. I was reading in the list of ordinances that I had on the thumb drive that our city judge or magistrate is one that was, I guess, given to us by Hall County, and we pay Hall County for the use of that judge, or is that an old ordinance that I read?
That's an old ordinance. The
Okay.
city council, I believe, Joey, might have been 7 years ago, actually appointed Hammond Law to that position and has renewed a contract with him. Wasn't that the last action you took?
That was, it may have been that Councilmember Horst got into the animal control ordinance because I believe on animal control, since Hall County does that for us, we may have in that particular agreement and ordinance that they go on into Hall County Magistrate Court, and so we put in that language that they address that and act as our municipal court for that limited purpose. Otherwise, all ordinance
Okay.
violations come to our municipal court.
All right, thank you for clarification.
Yes.
So do I hear a motion about city judge?
I'll make a motion that we keep Hammond Law.
Motion made by Denise Shockley to keep Hammond Law city judge. Do I get a second?
Second?
Second by Garnet Smith. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. City manager.
I'll make a motion that we keep Dennis.
A
Motion made by-
second.
Motion by Denise Shockley for Denise Bergin to city manager, second by Chip Horst. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Smile, Dennis.
I was gonna say, do we know a good one, but then I could have said the same thing about the attorney. So,
I wasn't gonna go there. You get your resident zoning amendment, is that what you got?
so remember,
You mean the copy of this right here?
I think you had one good.
Okay. I think we still got to vote on this. It's the residential zoning amendments. And we've been through this and been through this and been through this. Remember this? So I'll entertain a motion about this ordinance. Somebody say you want it or don't want it? Anybody want to accept it? Nobody want to accept it?
I make a motion to accept it.
Motion made by Gene Bramlett to accept the adoption of residential zoning amendments. Do I get a second? Motion dies for,
I don't have a copy in front of me. I just want to make sure that what I think I'm voting on is what I'm voting on.
This is the one that
I'm sorry.
y'all approved the last time, but there were some items that were added that we weren't sure if
Okay.
y'all had seen
I just wanted to make
before.
sure. I didn't want to,
So we asked y'all to make sure that you go ahead and approve that, but put it on for another vote to make sure that you were comfortable, because there
Okay.
was so much there that what was added and was presented that night was what you wanted.
okay.
So,
All right.
so this would, if this passes tonight, this would be the second passing,
It
correct?
would be done.
Okay.
And I don't know if everyone's had that opportunity. I know that when we did pass the first one, there was, during that period, a time for potential changes if anyone wanted to so make those. Or so I just was curious if anyone on council had an opportunity to look at that one more time and verify if we needed to make any changes.
May I ask a clarifying question either to Joey or to Dennis? There's a lot of information in there. I have reviewed the document, but a lot of it just made my eyes glaze over. I'm just going to be honest with you. There's a lot of information there. Should myself or someone else on council 3-4 months from now look at something and make it, make us scratch our head, can we bring up for a vote to make an amendment on the current
amend the amendment, yeah.
amend the amendment? Yeah.
So, go ahead. I love it. You go right ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and let me just say that for everybody in the audience, we had 2 public hearings on this, and you're correct. There's a lot of information
There is.
on there that we revisited at the council's direction, changes to the amount of density. And if you remember, it was specifically dealing with residential. Joey correctly identified some changes in state law that have been added as far as procedure, Joey, just in a nutshell, which ironically, we were following some of those already. So yes, there was a lot, significant changes. Remember, lot sizes, the amount of density, all those things were considered.
Considering the clarification, I'd like to second that motion.
before we do anything else, I have a motion made by Gene Bramlett and a second by Jeff Horch to accept these amendments to the zoning ordinance. I have a question myself first though before. Joey, on this copy here, everything in the red, is that what the new ordinance is going to be? Okay. I want to make sure that I want to make sure that wasn't the deletions, because part of the like, because.
I was just trying to distinguish between the two.
Okay.
So the copy that Joe has is the corrections that were presented.
Yeah, it's got additions, and it's got deletions from the additions. I'm like you, I want to make sure I had the right one here. Okay, so all in favor of accepting this ordinance as amended, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, as opposed, say no. We have a new ordinance amended. While I'm here, I'm going to sign it for Tangi's benefit. Thank you.
Joey, I had one question on that amendment. Does that take place 30 days? Is that the way that works? On that zoning amendment, is that effective?
It's not.
It's not, it's effective now?
Right.
Okay, good.
As soon as they sign it, unless y'all tell me different.
That means our moratorium is now lifted
Right.
Yes,
automatically.
yes.
Good. We start building again, folks. I'll start building houses in Lula again. Okay, that's a pass. Okay, the planning commission meets the first Thursday of February, which is on the 2nd, if my calendar says it right.
That's just for this month.
Yeah,
As you know,
just-
they did it last month as
right.
well.
That's a special time change, or date change on that. So. Okay, number 13, human resources. We want to discuss the budgeted positions. And what those budget positions are is an assistant city manager and a downtown manager. Now, we have some recommendations from the committee, the Human Resources Committee, to hire an assistant manager for a salary of, get my numbers right here. We said $85,286, 65, $41 an hour. Is that what we said?
I think that was top pay, that was not starting pay.
Okay, that was okay.
That was not starting pay, that
The-
was
the-
the cap. That
okay.
was the cap pay.
I don't know. We ever get a new the one we have as assistant manager is an old thing we sent last year. We're going to keep the same same ad for the same salary range this year, or how are we going to advertise it this year?
I'll just remind y'all had brought up the opportunity of a new dollar amount as well as
Yep.
a opportunity, I think, Joey, you and I talked about it, where they might have moving expenses that would pay a premium that could be part of that first year's salary.
It got back to.
But you never arrived at a dollar amount on those.
So we need to do that before we can advertise a job for
Yes.
first of all, do we have to approve the job itself?
The job's already been approved.
Okay, it's been budgeted, okay.
It's been budgeted, it was in,
Okay.
I'd like to speak on this because there's a lot of stuff going around that I've been reading. This was approved actually prior to us being elected on the council. This was put into this year's budget. This is not going to increase your taxes. We've already rolled back your taxes. It's increased. This is not going to cause you to pay taxes. This is jobs that are needed to help our city run smoothly so that we're not wearing down the employees that we have now. They are a vital part to our community, these employees, and we need to treat them as such. And I'm for these positions. I did a little research, and I'd like to share some of the research that I have done so that you know. And I spoke on some of this last meeting where I'd called the City of Commerce. They have roughly 7,500, and I know that's more than what we have. This is the positions, the higher positions that they have there. They have a city manager, a city clerk. They have 2 positions that would not qualify for us because they have electric and gas. They have a public work director, a wastewater manager, a water sewer director, a human resource director, a finance director, a main street director, planning and zoning director, a building inspector. They are now hiring and adding a new position, which is assistant manager. City of Baldwin, they're a little more in our ballpark on the number of people. They have 3742. They have a city manager, a city clerk. They have 2 positions that won't qualify, fire and police. They have public works director, a finance director, an administrative assistant to the manager. City of Dawsonville. Now they have a lot more stuff downtown than we would, but they're at 35,000. They have 4 departments, which have their own buildings, which they probably need. We don't need that. But they have an administration department, a planning and zoning department, public works department, utilities. Within this, they have a city manager, a city clerk, an administrative assistant to the city clerk, a finance director with administrative assistant to the finance director. The city manager uses both of these assistants. They have a planning and zoning director, downtown development director, public works director, utility operator manager. City of Livonia, 2,700 people. City manager, city clerk, public works director, street superintendent, water superintendent, distribution superintendent, water plant supervisor, facilities maintenance superintendent. Dennis, what do we have here? We have you and Tangi and and Hoyt. We have 3.
And Deborah.
3. We're at 3,000. Our people are overworked. Overworked. We're not charging you city taxes. It's already budgeted. This money is here. We're just not spending it because we have failed to fill the position. We have. This is on us. I just want to put that out there. I want you to know that we have thought hard about this. But the city cannot run smooth if we're not employed accurately for what we have. We service area outside of the city of Lula. We service on the other side of 365. That is not in our city district. We have several areas outside of the city of Lula. So 3,000 people does not accurately cover our numbers with some of the services that we have. And I just want to make sure that every one of you are aware of this, because a lot of people, there's just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of talking. And I want you to be clear on what we're doing. We're not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. We're not trying to just blow money up here. We're trying to give our employees adequate help so that they can do their job properly, so that when you have issues, they can address your issues. And that's our job up here. And that's what I have to say on that.
Mr. Mayor, may I speak as well on that?
Sure.
So I did some research as well. I looked into, I'm not going to count Gainesville, but Flowery Branch, Oakwood, Commerce, Alto, Baldwin, Cornelia, Clarksville, Cleveland, Dahlonega, Dawsonville. And luckily with Dawsonville, I was able actually to speak with Mayor Eason this evening. And I've been in Georgia for 18 years, and I learned something about Dawsonville that I did not know before today. I did not know that the 400 area of what everybody considers to be Dawsonville, that is not Dawsonville. I didn't know that. I thought Dawsonville was a lot larger than what it is. According to the mayor today, 3.4 thousand residents is what they serve. Now they do have more commerce than we have, but when I asked him about the commerce, he said that the commerce is a drop in the bucket for the revenue that they take in, and they actually take that money and put it aside for something else. For the most part, the city of Dawsonville is getting their revenue from the same sources that we are. They do not charge property taxes. They rely mostly on franchise fees. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. SPLOST funds and water and sewer, which is what we're doing. So to me, that was good news to know that one of the things that I ran on is I'm going to kick that can as far down the road as I can, because just like you guys, I'm a resident of the city of Lula. I don't want to pay property taxes. It's one of the reasons why I moved here. I don't want to pay property taxes. And I had this preconceived notion that, maybe here in about 5 or 10 years we might have to, but after speaking with Mayor Eason, he's like, no, you don't. He said, we've got more people, more commerce, we don't have property taxes, and they have a whole lot more employees in their city hall than what we do. Every city that I looked into that I just named off, all of them have a multitude more employees than what we have. So again, to back up what Denise is saying, to bring on an assistant city manager and to bring on a part-time downtown manager is a small step towards making sure that we are eventually properly manned for this city to run. It is our job as the council to, using our committees, to make sure that we are making wise decisions with the revenue that we have. And it's also our job to bring it to the residents so that you guys can see what we're doing with it and take your comments and see what you guys think about it. But ultimately, in the end, you guys, whether you did or you didn't, we were majority elected into these positions to run the city. It's my hope that that myself, along with my fellow council members, can do right by you. So I just wanted to, to let you guys know that asking for this, well, not asking, letting you guys know that we're bringing on this position. It's not a knee-jerk reaction. It's something that was planned before we got here, but it is a well-needed position.
I'd like to say something as well. My recommendation really is to send this back to the committee just for a couple of reasons. I agree that we do need to fill at least the assistant city management position for sure. I think that both positions, I would love to see some more defined duties that would be included as part of the daily operations, and also to be included in the advertisement. I would want to be able to see what we're going to list as the desired skills and experience, and I want to also make a separate statement. My recommendation is to send it back to committee so that we have another opportunity to really have this stuff ready to go, so that we all agree on what the duties are. But I'd also, Chip, you made a very interesting comment there regarding your conversations with I guess it was Mayor Eason. I think it would be wise of us in the future to go through and benchmark our expenditures with some of these other cities, and I'm sure, I'm just guessing, and Dennis may know this, the GMA may provide us some assistance in gathering that information. Just something that I think we should inquire about. I would love to benchmark what we're doing in comparison to the other cities, to find out where our differences are, and so that we can compare apples to apples and see if maybe we're doing something better than they are and they're doing something better than we are in another area. So I think that was very, very good. I'm glad you brought that up. But to finish my statement, I recommend this go back to committee and give us an opportunity again for all council to see exactly what we're planning to advertise before taking a vote on it.
Garnet, you got something to say?
I'm listening.
Gene?
I would talk, I think you should do committee.
It's okay with me to do that.
Second. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Gene Brown, second by Garnet Smith to send this back to committee for more discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Now, boys and girls, what y'all just did, you made it hard for us because we got to schedule these committee meetings. Just to let y'all know, we got to do this. That's down at the end of the agenda, I realize that. But fair warning. Okay. Yes, sir.
Can we have the whole council involved on this, discussion on this, so this committee?
We're advertising, for committees now, so it'd be a special call meeting, but certainly you could have full council if that's what you
Well, I
choose
think
to do.
full council should be involved.
Oh, for human resources, is that what you're asking? I
Yes.
didn't hear the whole thing, I'm sorry.
Which, maybe a special call work session or,
Yeah.
there again, we got to find time, right?
I'll make a motion.
I'm good.
I'll second that motion, that we have the
Full
special meeting,
Special work session, okay.
advertised with minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Special work session. Okay. To be scheduled. Is that clear? Clear as mud? Okay. Special work session. We don't know when yet. Got to work out the schedule. Okay. All right, the full-time mayor position. It's on the agenda. Let's talk about it. Anybody got anything to say?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do.
All right.
I'd like to start off by making sure that everybody, not only on the council, but everybody out here or listening knows that the consideration that I have given this is as logical as I can be, taking any personal feelings that I might have out of this. Usually I'm pretty good at, just speaking from the hip, but I've got some things written down, so if I'm looking down at my notes. Just a moment ago, I listed all of the cities that I reached out to, and I spoke to either the city manager or the city clerk of each one of those cities. Of all of those cities that I listed, not one, not even Gainesville, has a full-time mayor. 45,000 residents. The city of Gainesville does not have a full-time mayor. What all these cities do have that we don't have are a lot more employees. Now, I'm not saying we need a lot more employees, but they don't have a full-time mayor. And I spoke to Mayor Eason about that because Dawsonville at one time had a full-time mayor and they had a full-time city manager.
Correct.
When that particular mayor, I don't know his name, I didn't think to ask.
Mayor Duff.
When that mayor was, I don't know if he was voted out or if he was on a second term, but when his term was over and they elected a new mayor in, they elected him as a part-time mayor. And now that Mayor Eason is there, somebody asked him if he would consider being a full-time mayor. He said absolutely not. It doesn't work. It works the way that it is right now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, and this is all information that I just got this evening speaking with him. This is something that I take very seriously. I don't take it lightly. I do not want to come across as someone who just makes emotional decisions. We all get emotional. Y'all saw me get a little emotional earlier. But this is not something that's emotional. I'm looking at what is the best interest of the city. So besides what I spoke to Mayor Eason about, there's also another issue with having a full-time mayor, as it was discussed and proposed by Mayor Thomas. Having a full-time mayor that is doing the duties of a city employee presents a major conflict of interest. In one hand, he is the mayor, and Dennis reports to him as a subordinate. But in the duties of the assistant city manager, the mayor would then have to be subordinate to Dennis. That's a major conflict of interest. We can't have that. So with those things in mind, I hope that everybody here listening, as well as my fellow council members, can understand why I would like to make a motion at this time to not consider having a full-time mayor.
Anybody else want to talk about that?
I agree. That has been my thoughts through the discussion of this from the beginning, that there's a fine line there, and we're very close to crossing that fine line, and I feel like that it's going to create a disruption in the daily functions more than it's going to help. And so I would second the motion.
Okay, got a motion made by Chip Horse to not have a full-time mayor position, second by Denise Shockley. Any more conversation? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, that solves that problem, right? Now we're down to the DRI. From for the Belton Bridge Townhomes. Yeah, this has been some discussion about this. In case y'all haven't heard, there's 60 acres of land over Belton Bridge Road, right across the street from Garnet, that they want to put 244 townhomes on. It's already zoned, and the zoning allows them to do that, but they've got certain setbacks and other requirements they've got to meet. So they have not brought the plan to us yet. It's just talking stage right now. But let you know, that's 244 townhomes on Belton Bridge Road. So,
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a quick question about that?
sure.
I got an email from, I believe it was you, that we got a response
We did.
from,
The city, well, hold on a second, I'll
I
give you
got,
some
I,
clarity
got,
to
I
that.
got mine right here.
that response basically said that, the traffic issues, I never saw the actual DRI for the development. I just saw the response, that one
Yep.
page PDF.
So we sent you the traffic study, that's what they're referring to, was the traffic study, and they, as you know, recommended that all recommendations noted in traffic study be adhered to. So you have the traffic study, so nobody else commented is what it boiled down,
Okay.
just that one
Thank you.
community.
This person was lives in Jefferson, Georgia, who commented on our DRI.
That actually was the city of Jefferson that commented on it.
I got it in
right.
front of me.
Right.
But let you know, it's nothing we did. It's already zoned for that. If they can make it work, we're hard pressed to stop them.
And that's zoned R3?
It's zoned R3.
It is.
30 years ago.
20 or 30 years ago.
30
I heard 20, but it could be 30. So, but so just be ready.
Be ready for a killer.
We'll wait for to bring it to us now. Then it's not the more trucks they they're probably gonna bring it to us, right?
Probably. Mr. Holmes and I have talked about it. It does create challenges, as you can recognize when you get a chance. If you haven't looked at it, the transportation study does recognize the increased flow of traffic, and yet the law doesn't allow us to impose those improvements back on development. Actually, there's the frustration in life that you can't impose that on developer. Specific improvements to that property should be recognized, which we will make every attempt to do. What I understand is they propose that the streets would be private internally. But again, we don't have a real document here.
Right.
The conceptual.
But we see it coming. We'll let y'all know it's coming. They're trying. It's probably going to come. So.
I'll be living across the road there.
Yes, sir.
Where you moving to, Garnet?
I don't know. I'll be moving on out Fort Long anyhow.
He's going to sell his, let them develop his for 400 acres, 400 units. Okay. let's see, where we at now? We got the DRI out of the way, okay. The Lula ladies are meeting at the depot on the 25th of Wednesday the 25th, for lunch and dinner. 6:30, not 6 o'clock, is that correct?
Right.
And noon for lunch, okay. And the Historical Society meets on the fourth Monday of the month at the depot at 7 o'clock, which is 2 weeks from yesterday. Is that, what day's the, yeah. Is that correct? Fourth Monday?
Yes,
Yes,
2 weeks from yesterday.
Okay, now then, we gotta schedule these committee meetings, and we've had some discussion about these, and I'm not sure what y'all wanna do about this. Do we wanna set up a certain time every month for committee meetings and council meetings as necessary, or do we want to, try to schedule the meetings like we have in the past? We're having trouble scheduling here lately, mainly because Smith's work, that's the biggest issue.
Well, I think they should be scheduled a certain date, time, then they can plan, you know, to take off or whatever. They work with their employers
Okay,
about how to get off and what, you know, they know that have a date and time to do it.
So you making a motion on that?
Yes, I'm making a motion.
I'll second it.
okay. Motion made by Gene Brown to set committee meetings on a monthly basis, or a preset schedule to be adhered to, unless we have no action for the committee to look at.
Is that all meetings that day for all committees? All committees
There's,
meet that day?
well, that's something we gotta decide too. So, we're gonna try to get all the meetings, we're gonna call it a special work session, everybody in one time, or how, but that's something else we gotta decide, how to do this. 'Cause we can't have a special work session every month, can we?
You can add a
eh,
special, you can add a work session is what I think one of the recommendations were.
Yeah, is that sort of what we're saying now, instead of set a committee to meet well, we're saying a special work session every month for everybody to be here. And
I was
discuss-
seconding a motion based on Gene suggesting or motioning that we should have scheduled committees.
Schedule committee meetings.
That's correct.
As opposed to a special work session every month.
Yes.
Okay. So I got a motion made by Gene Brown to schedule committee meetings separately and on a set schedule. And seconded by Chip Horst. Any more discussion on this?
I'll just remind the council, you have 80 scheduled meetings already. For nighttime, this would add another 108 meetings. There's a limit to what we can do and do well.
But
I'm
whether-
just being the obvious.
Whether we
I
schedule
can't
them,
be expected to be here all those meetings every night, and I know the importance of me being here. But, you know, there's 260 days that we meet the opportunity in the year.
If I understand correctly, what you're saying is that we would set a day, and that day would be the day that we would hold our committee meetings, is that correct?
That's
It's not an additional meeting, it's just that we would have a set time. Is that what I'm understanding?
Human Resources meet Thursday at 4 o'clock on the third Thursday every month. Parks and Rec meets on the second Tuesday every month. That's the proposal that I heard.
and if there was no need for that meeting, it would be canceled, but it would still be scheduled.
Okay. Is that,
So then we gotta determine the schedule for these 9 committees. That's what Dennis,
All right.
that's what Dennis is saying.
so, here's the only dilemma I have with this, and it's not my schedule, but is that something that Dennis is gonna be able to do with his meetings that he has to do?
That's what he's saying.
Is that what you're saying? That with your
You know,
meetings?
you can only stretch me so far.
Right, with your with your meetings that you have to do that doesn't include us, is that what I'm getting from you?
As an example, you know, that's why I pointed out you have 80 scheduled meetings right now. This would add an additional 108 of the 260 days of the year that we, you know, have the opportunity to meet. Now you're gonna have, well, let's see, 198 meetings.
So I think this is
180.
probably,
You could combine, there's two of us on 2 or 3 different committees,
right.
and you could have 2 meetings at the same time, one back to back.
I think the issue that comes in with this though is that sometimes Dennis has meetings that doesn't include us as a council to be at. And so we may not be able to schedule
It is gonna be a challenge.
it. He may not be able to be off every month for that because of prior, meetings that he has to do as far as like the wastewater and that he has to do on his daily basis.
Can I clarify something? I don't think every committee needs to meet every month.
Oh, no.
You're absolutely
They
right.
don't.
You know,
They don't.
certain committees once a quarter, maybe other committees once every 2 months, and then some committees once a month, like Finance Committee, for example, Utilities, for example. As it stands right now, if we were to do it that way, we obviously already have to meet throughout the year for these committees. I would maybe then, can I rescind my motion? So I'll rescind my motion and then maybe ask, as if you don't have enough to do already, Dennis. Do you have any thoughts on how, knowing that we're all willing to let it be scheduled and be flexible, how could we get that to work with what you've got going on right now?
Special work session 101.
Well, you know, the idea with work
that's one-
session
that's one
is
month.
maybe
That's
that
one a month.
that offers some flexibility if you need to have committees similar to what Gene said. You could, where some members serve on the same committee, whether it be, the example, Gene, I think was Finance and Park and Rec. That's the same membership. You could have those back to back on a separate night. Maybe you look at the fourth Monday of the month or the first Monday of the month, you know, and set that aside where you could start early in the evening and just march to trying to complete those. That's what, I'm just saying that may be an opportunity. Again, the problem is each one of y'all have flexible schedules. So, and we certainly want to work around your flexibility.
With that being said, I'm good every Monday of the month. I don't know if anybody else is. So,
Dennis, was your recommendation for a special work session?
You know, I think that's an option. I don't know that it is. It's probably something you'd want to try before you commit yourself forever. Shoot, if we're lucky, maybe we only meet until 8 or 9. But I will remind you, we're available like tonight. We stay as long as we need to stay. So it's up to y'all. I don't know if that works any differently or not.
It's fewer meetings. That's
Well,
the-
I know for
that's-
y'all, the problem is just what
that's
schedule
one-
everybody allows.
That's once a month, yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I was making the suggestion that people could take off, they could schedule their work around it.
Right. Well, for some, they have that flexibility and some don't.
Some of them have to be here for all the meetings.
Yep. Joe?
Dennis.
So is it my understanding that if we were to consider a special council, that we would be able to, as a full council, knock out, you know, multiple committee meetings?
Exactly,
and-
that's
You
and-
probably
Exact-
have to be flexible because sometimes things are going to be more involved than others. But yeah,
You may have said, listen to some
that's
of
why I
the
said,
committee.
Tony, I don't know if
Yeah.
it'll work or not. It's worth a try, but you'd have to give it a few
It's certainly
tries.
worth a try, and that would allow us all to
Would all-
provide input. Although the
Everybody here.
committee leads would lead that conversation, but it would allow us all to provide commentary and feedback as the discussion goes on.
May I suggest that we look at the committees that truly need to meet on a monthly basis and put those into a work session meeting or a special council meeting,
That's fine with me.
since we have to do it once a month anyway?
We don't want to meet just to meet. I know that.
No. But for example, HR, utilities, finance, those that really
Right.
have to meet once a month, we can wrap that into one work session. I'm willing to do that.
I'm willing.
and I'm good with that also.
And then that will be scheduled and we can all work around that.
Yeah, I agree with Dennis. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. We can change our mind
First
if
Monday of the
it
month.
does not work.
Can we do first Monday of the month?
I'm here to, a motion.
I make
I'll
a motion that we have a work session on the first Monday of the month for those
Committee meetings.
committee meetings that are essential to meet once a month.
I
I'll
hear
second that motion.
a motion made by Chip Horst, seconded by Tony Cornett for a special work session the first Monday of every month for committee meetings. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. First Monday of the month it will be.
What time are we gonna do this?
Si- Oh, I
Six-
guess.
6 o'clock.
I make a motion 6 o'clock.
Are you amending your motion?
Yes.
Adding a new motion?
I'm resetting and amending.
Okay.
Everybody understands it now, right? We've agreed to it
6
now.
o'clock, first Monday?
6 o'clock.
First Monday, special work session. It means everybody can be here, and if we don't need you, we send you home. That sound legal? I gotta keep it legal, right? Okay, I think we'll finish the agenda, humorously anyway. Okay, now, citizens' comments. Well, yeah. All right, let's, Francis, come on.
Mine's peaceful, I promise. Yes, I'm Francis, thanks. I sent you a nice email about the Island Circle. I also brought something else with me because if it can't be paved, I'd like to see the city maintain it more properly. As of right now, it hadn't been graded in a while. The ditch that's supposed to be on the side of the road to help the water drain, it has areas where it is not there. The water builds up, especially on the curve when it rains. A lot of the dirt has gone, I guess, into what you would call supposed to be the ditch area, and it blocks the water. If the grader could come and grade it up properly so it would go back towards the crown of the road, would be great. I haven't seen it rocked in a while. I've seen spot rocked, where it came with the truck, there's a hole, they do a little gravel there in that spot. But as far as maintaining it properly, I'd like to see that if we can't pave it.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. I couldn't see who you were. I saw the hand. I couldn't see the face.
I know, I'm not very tall, I'm sorry. Just what God made me. My name is still June Vincent. I still live at 4719 Old Cornelia Highway.
You didn't move during the meeting? Come on. Okay.
Joe, I'd like to thank you so much for clarifying what's in the Constitution because, thank goodness we have you for a city attorney and you always know the answer and I appreciate that. Mr. Grissom, I thank you for your generosity for offering to pay our penalty lease. I wish you would come to the Historical Society. We're having a meeting this coming, everybody is invited. We don't charge anything. We'd love to have more people and more input. If anybody's interested in what we do, I have a whole page. It's pretty much a synopsis of what we do, and I can run off copies for you, just in case. And one of the lines in here says, in its bylaws, the Historical Society of Lula, Belton, Georgia specifies it exists for a mission of service to the city of Lula and surrounding areas. And that's absolutely what we do our very best to do. And thank you so much. And tonight was very interesting. I love watching the input and the back and forth. Thank you.
Thank you, June. All right, Roy. Oh, hold up, Roy.
I'm a firm believer if a man makes a mistake, he needs to own it. And so, I need to apologize that I had it in my notes, Mr. Horst, I say
Horst.
Horst. There is a line in this Constitution preventing it, but there is a clause that Mr. Joy pointed out. I had in my notes, the exception is providing a service to the city, and I didn't say that. And so I apologize for not clarifying and causing some confusion.
We got it clarified and
I
it's
just-
a godly manner with which you approached, I
No, I
assure
know,
you.
and I didn't mean to cause a big scruff and a us. I apologize to you, Mr. Chip.
I apologize to you as well for my
You know, and
my heated
I
temperament.
didn't mean anything personal against the Historical Society. I know they're doing a good thing. It wasn't anything to do with their finances. I know they're doing their best and everything like that. So I didn't mean anything towards them. So I just want to apologize for anything, any confusion, anything like that. As far as the investigations goes, I'm not suggesting that it can't be them because they're obviously warranted and in the laws for that to happen. I'm just trying to figure out how we keep, and I'm not suggesting that has happened, but that someone could just make a fruitless, thing, and the wheels start turning, and the cost ends up being nothing. That's all I was suggesting. So, God bless everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. I don't know your name. I can't tell.
I'm Tina Millingham. I've been in Lula for 8 years.
Your day's wife.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Down Baden Lane. Is that correct? Okay.
So when we first moved in, the post office had like a bookshelf in there with books on that people would take and leave, and like a neighborhood library. And then it disappeared. And I told
It's still at the post office. If you want to come pick it up, it's there.
it's not there anymore. The bookshelf is not there.
The books are. The bookshelf is not still.
No,
I work at the post office. Why is that? I thought. Okay.
It's gone, and I talked to the postmaster about it, and he said that it wasn't really allowed to be there, and people were dropping off other things as well, so it wasn't working. But I was wondering if we could have some, like, receptacle, like they do in neighborhood libraries, where people leave books and we can pick them up and swap them out. You take one or leave one or whatever. But it was a good community thing. I thought would be good. So yeah, I don't know where to go with that, but I'm just letting you know. But I'd be willing to oversee it and make sure it stayed tidy.
Well, that might be something to consider where the blessing box used to be. You think? I don't know. You, so,
Similar kind of thing.
I'm not asking. So, but thank you.
All right, thanks.
We love volunteers, though. So your phone may ring.
All right, Robert, come on back up here.
Still Robert, ordinary way. Again, I'd like to thank the council. Business does need help. It does, and I like the references all the time, Mr. Horst, and the shop is spent researching. Now, I do say the whole commerce thing may not be the right comparison. I have a business in commerce. They have a lot of employees. I've attended many alliance meetings with the former city manager there, and know Mr. Washer very well, and Mayor Clark Hill, and know him very, very well. They own their power. They own the power, they own the gas, and of course the water and sewer. Trust me, I know. I pay about $3,000 a month in power bills and about $5,000 water bill this month, which is unusual. But then but we need him now. We do. Another thing I'd like to say, I'm not up here speaking because I'm posturing for a position of the public office. I'm for the citizens of Lula, those that will get up and speak and those that don't feel they can. I still call for the resignation of Councilmember District 3 and the current code enforcement officer and those who back them. Because next, we will take matters in our own hands. There are ways around this to take care of bullies. And we've been bullied. We've been transgressed against by our elected officials and those elected officials hiring a person that bullies us also, being their strong arm. It's time to put an end to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Anybody else?
I'm Debbie Thomas, certified, and I live at Chattanooga Street. And I wish I had commented before y'all took the vote on some of the things you did. It may not have made a difference. I agree that Dennis has more to do than he can possibly do. We hear from him every meeting, all the things he does and all the things he keeps up with. You looked at different things for the different towns that you called about. I think a good thing would have been, and it may not be too late, I thought that one of our councilmen suggested that y'all wait to make a decision and have a little more committee work on this, but that didn't go through.
Yes, it
I
did.
don't think
Yes, it
that
did.
Yes,
went
it,
very well
it,
on
it,
that.
it did, Betty.
It did? Okay, so it's going back to committee.
It's going back to committee. Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
God, because I couldn't hear, I didn't understand.
Sorry, we didn't make it clear for you.
I don't know what I'm gonna say is gonna have an impact, but I have a concern that we have so few people that have control and knowledge of the city. I think if we had more people, you talked to all the towns you went to, you contacted, they have a lot more different people employed in different positions. That takes a lot off of Dennis, the same as an assistant would, but then that still leaves that knowledge and ability with that person, and if something happened to that person, the city's gonna be in a mess. I mean, I really believe that, and I think not that I'm saying that our mayor should be full-time, I think he should have more involvement, it appears, in what the decisions are and what's going on, where he knows more, and he may know Penny, I don't know. But I just think if we had people who were responsible for certain departments and things, and if they want to present that at council, then it would take some off of Dennis. I know that Dennis does an awful lot. And I respect him and I respect each of you. And I know that as few staff as we have, that a lot of work goes on. I mean, even in getting the water bills and getting them paid and that type of thing, that's about the extent of fortune that I've had to deal with. But I appreciate you and hope that that committee, whoever they are, will look at the composition of these towns, not 3 employees, not 4 employees, not a part-time mayor, but who has what responsibility? And have a reasonable, you may very well, you may spend a little more money, but I think in the long run, we would be better off if we had more people involved in the different departments that's going on. Because you need that knowledge. If something happened to Dennis, if he was in an accident, and then who's gonna know what's happened and what to do? And I do think we need more diversity. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you, Ms. Betty.
Anybody else?
And one more thing, I'm sorry. We need to be real cautious of how much we approach in law enforcement, and especially put monitors to monitor the speed. Parking places a premium now, but I don't know that that's gonna relieve that, and of course, nobody knows. But I think we need to be real careful as how many citations we think we're gonna collect and get. It should not be about that. It should never be a profit thing. I know when I was probate judge and I did traffic court, someone said, well, you need to raise the fines. I said, that's not what we're here for. It's not a revenue thing. If it costs the county, it costs the county, we have to eat it. But that's another thing I wanted to mention too. I'm sorry, I may have taken more than 3 minutes.
Thank you, Betty. I was wondering, I just couldn't believe you're going to say the whole meeting and not say a word. Belton Wood,
Belton Wood.
6755 Belton Bridge Road.
Hire all the people y'all want to, go get you 20 more employees, for this light duty Bergin yard. Now, for example, if you keep raising the sewer rates up, when I first moved Lula, everybody was building around schools and stuff. I think it was probably $1,500 per tap. Okay, they raised it up. Everybody stopped building. Now it's $5,000. Now you want to raise it again to $7,500. And I guarantee you, I know these investors, we will stop the building. And we will keep our town at $3,500. You can hire all these people you want. Now today you got the money. Tomorrow you might not have it. So consider it. Easy to that sewer. Let us grow a little than we are now.
Thank you, Belton. Okay, Loretta.
Short-term profit for long-term effects. That's something everyone needs to keep in mind. Yes, you want to see it grow. And it's growing all around us. I mean, just like on Belton Bridge, y'all saying it's 244. Why isn't Lula, the city, receiving the benefits from that? Why didn't the city get to approve anything for that?
They're in the city. They've already been approved.
Yeah, I know you said years ago. But you got all this, but what is the long-term effect of having that many on our sewage system, our roads? Our roads are terrible. There's holes everywhere. So just remember, short-term profit for long-term effects.
Anybody else?
Tim Williams, 6047 Main Street. I just have a question. I've approached the town hall, Tangi and Dennis, and also Mr. Forster on a couple occasions about filing an open record report, which I did Thursday morning. Prior to this request for open record report, I was told that those records were not were not available for knowledge, my knowledge, to review, even though it's reports filed against me. And I've gone to municipal court, paid my fines, but I will be filing, just so each member knows, I will be filing a formal complaint with the city of Lula, just to let y'all know. One of my biggest, I guess, disgruntled is a truck that I was forced to get rid of, a yard arc truck that I wanted really bad. I was given 3 days to get rid of that truck, but Mr. Grizzle, I am going to address you because my name was mentioned in a public report that was produced for public viewing, that I reported him about his yard arc truck, which I did. Not that I was disgruntled with his yard arc truck. I appreciate art. I'm an artist myself, but yet I was forced to remove my truck, and then I drove by the other day and Mr. Grizzle is still in violation of this ordinance, and then y'all rewarded him a yard of the month, which blew my mind. But yet I can't get a permit for a house that's distressed, or for the building that I brought in, because the house is distressed. I'm in other violations. So just to say, I will be filing a formal report tomorrow with you, Tangi, and we'll address some other issues with previous council decisions against me and my properties here in Lula.
Thank you, Tim.
I want to say something about my truck. That's my truck. I don't know if y'all know this. I'm paralyzed.
Hello.
I am paralyzed. That is a therapy for me. I can't go out. Joe knows. I don't let being paralyzed keep me from getting out and doing things. That is what relieves my pain. I don't take drugs. I have a spinal cord injury. There's nothing to help it. I help my things that I do to help me. And if my truck has caused so much trouble, it has been moved into the yard on stilts. It's not up on the roadway. Do I need to get a thing from the shelter center so that this will put an end to my truck? What relieves me, what helps me. People have different things in their lives. People go to drugs, alcohol, whatever. I go to work to keep me moving, because I know maybe 2, 3 years, I was in, I couldn't walk. I'm walking because I keep busy. And that's the problem with my truck. Can we end it? Do you want me to get a thing from the Shepherd Center where there's an ADD law that allows people like me to have something? Because this truck is ridiculous.
Loretta, can I interrupt you here?
Yes, you can.
Have we not, Joey,
Yes, sir.
have we not decided that their truck is now not in violation of the code?
I haven't been involved in
It's
that.
no longer on the right of way.
That was my question. So it's no longer,
No longer on, it was only 3 foot on the right of way, by the way. A lot of people are deceived on my fence. I didn't put it on the right of way. I put my fence 3.5, 4 foot back off the right of way, so they gave me a lot more room up there. The truck was on.
I thought you were back, I thought the truck was in compliance. I thought this had been settled and
it's
done
off
with,
the-
and
it's off the right of way.
I'm like you.
It's
That's,
actually made to where it's difficult for me. But you know what?
I'm the first
I'm
one,
gonna do my therapy.
I'm the first one to call it yard art, and I like that truck.
It is a nice truck.
I saw nothing for sale the other day, matter of fact.
I'm not gonna go get it.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
My name's Tony Pittman, and talking about yard art trucks today. There's a
Kentucky Street. Kentucky Street. It's already been addressed. It hadn't been fixed, but it's been addressed. That's all I can say, I think. I think that's all I'm legally allowed to say. Is that right?
Say what you want, you know.
But
We're working on
it has been addressed, and it's still ongoing. So.
To add to that, about the marshal, I don't think it should be enforced on anybody in the city of Lula until that mess is cleaned up. If you can't make him do it, you shouldn't impose it on the other citizens of Lula.
That's sort of what we're saying too. We can't. So, we're a little frustrated about that too. So.
But maybe as we come together as a community, sometimes there may be somebody who looks okay, but isn't physically okay. And if we come together as a community to help somebody, instead of just fining them or whatever, because this is a little community, let's get it. Why are we bickering? Why are we bickering? Are we following in the ways of the big cities around us? Yes, we are. I mean, it's ridiculous. Can we not come together? Stop trying to be cat, mouse, dog, whatever, however it's put. Sometimes the chronicle engine makes me say things that's not correct. But can we stop this? If you want to go and help your neighbor, it could be 2 streets over, 4 streets over. Go help them instead of trying to attack them. I don't care who it is. Come together as a community. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Loretta.
Stop the hate. I don't think it's hate. I think it's more of male testosterone. If y'all want to know the truth about it, y'all are making it to where y'all need to all go. I mean, really, you men species are becoming extinct. Have y'all not realized that? Do y'all not realize that? So, I mean, you have so many people who need help. Instead of trying to push them on down, go help them. And I'm not talking about these people that walk the streets every day looking for a handout. There's a difference, and that's a choice. But I'm talking about you might have, sorry, this elderly lady right here, who may need her grass cut. She might be having trouble doing it. Instead of going and fining her, get together, because Eric with what's his name, Liberty, he is the only person I see out trying to help the community. He's one man.
He does it himself.
And he does. He literally goes out and tries to help people. Some people take advantage of that and want him to do every little thing for them. There's a limit. But y'all don't even need all these committees. Just have a board up there, meet here this day as volunteers, go clean the parks, clean our people's residence. And see how much that helps, because that's what community is all about. And y'all have been stressing me out for months, and I have kept my mouth shut. That's why I have not been to these meetings. I came to the first 3 meetings, and I'm gonna say something, because you the one did it. Joe, are you the mayor? Joe, are you the mayor? Joe, are you the mayor? Let's not make Joe just the mayor. We elected Joe. He needs us all. The committee needs us all.
Thank you, Loretta.
Y'all got me mad.
It didn't take long, did it?
I've actually been
I
a
know.
long time, Joe.
I know.
Last time
I
I
know.
was very angry. I had every right to be angry, and I have not spoken about that because I have not seen it again. But we need to stop this.
You and I talk pretty often, don't we?
We do. We do.
Anybody else?
I say we need to support our mayor. We need to support every council member up here that's come, took their time to speak up for us. We should do it in a Christian manner. If we're not gonna do it that way, we shouldn't even be here. We should be, just like this preacher back here said. We should, and Denise, she comes from, her dad's a pastor. We should come together as Christians and love each other, work together, bring this community together. And I don't like people saying, Joe's got to go, Joe's got to go. He is our mayor, but he was elected to take this position. Whether it's saying part-time, full-time, whatever time, he was elected to take this position. We should stand behind him. We should stand behind each council member that has stood up for us. I'm gonna say I appreciate Dennis too. I know he puts a lot of work into what he's doing. I don't understand that, don't begin to understand it. I would venture to say there's not a one of y'all up there that really knows what Dennis is doing. So we're gonna have to find somebody that can stand behind Dennis in some form or fashion that, like somebody mentioned, what if he has a wreck? He can't get here. Well, God forbid, what's Lula gonna do?
We all can do that.
For the record, that's Donna Jones Lawson on Chattahoochee Street. That was for the record. I got you.
As a community, we did let Joe in. But as Joe, are you gonna present to our community what a community is? Stand for us all. Not one, not two, but for us all.
I'm trying my best.
It's just us, it's up to each individual of us, because you're just an elected official who can be on next election.
Exactly right.
We need to really pull together. I don't have, y'all just need really see me angry. This is a room full of people. There's no Christian. I don't care who said who's a preacher. I don't know who's a preacher in here. I don't know.
Denise is
But
dead.
I don't know.
Darryl Womack sitting back
There's
here.
no Christian. There's nothing Christian about what's been going on here.
No,
I don't care if you're a preacher in here, that's not Christian, because you're pulling people apart instead of bringing people together.
Right, and you're absolutely right.
Okay, Darryl. I've been waiting on you all night. Darryl Womack, 6241 Main Street. Don't y'all like it when I know all these people?
There's a lot of good things that have been said, and I would say that one of the most important things is it's easy to find the problems. It's easy to point the problems out, but it's a lot harder to take the initiative to lead something that changes whatever you see the problem is. So I would encourage this young lady that has been speaking, what are we going to do? Saying that there's something wrong and then pointing that out really is the easy part. I have a mom who's 84 years old who lives part-time with me, and I have these mama do lists. Anybody ever heard of mama do lists? They're a lot of fun. And I tell my mom quite often, she has nothing to do but make me lists of things to do. So making lists or pointing those things out. So I would just encourage, if there's things that we see, how do we start organizing that to fix those issues and stuff? I would also say, and this is important too, that we are a democracy. And so when we do have issues, this is the forum to air those things out. Joe delivers my mail every day, and I'm glad, Mr. Mayor delivers my mail every day. I'm glad he does.
I'm the mailman, Joe.
And whether I vote for him or not,
Don't
no
matter.
matter how long he
Don't,
serves,
don't matter to me.
he's going to be the person that delivers my mail, and I'm happy about that. And
I'm gonna represent you on
as
this.
long as he's here, I'm going to support him in that position. But if I have a difference with our mayor,
You speak it up.
I should speak up, and I think you agree with that too. I don't think anything's
I'm not scared to hear the negatives.
Yeah,
They don't bother me a
I
bit.
think you've heard quite a few tonight.
I'll hear some more.
That's for sure. But if there are things we can do, you let me know, and I'm on board.
Well, what we need to do is make a bulletin right in this building.
We who? That's the first, that's what I'm saying.
I'll make it.
Okay, then
I'll make the
work with the committee and see how that we can
I
make
don't
that
need no
happen.
committee. I'll just put on there what needs to
Well,
be
actually,
done.
since it's their control of the building, you probably do need their permission to do it. But
She knows the mayor. She knows the mayor too.
I'll be the first one to jump in and say, I'll help in any way I can, because I love this town. I didn't grow up here, but I hope I die here. And I hope right there on 6241 Main Street, we should have done that.
I did. I told her.
That's when I draw my last breath. I hope they come pick me up from that place right up there, because this is the most wonderful little town there's ever been. It reminds me of my hometown, and every day when I wake up, I'm happy to know that I live in Lula, Georgia. And so just, that's all I've got to say.
Amen.
Thanks, Daryl. Oh, new face. Is that Harriet?
My name is Harriet Williams, 6047 Main Street, Lula, Georgia. And I do appreciate having counsel. We all need counsel. And my husband was not at all saying anything to you about the truck. It was more of an unfairness. We feel like an unfairness situation. I grew up in Gainesville, Georgia, so I am not from Lula. And I'm learning, obviously, things are run very differently in Lula, Georgia. So it's been kind of a shock to me. I just want to let everyone know that Tim and I are not lazy people. We don't choose to have dilapidated properties. I work in a hair salon Tuesday through Friday. Then Friday nights I'm headed up to a venue where I do weddings, and I am up till usually 1 or 2 in the morning on Friday night getting ready for it, and then also on Saturday night until about the same time finishing up weddings. Tim and I were never given anything. We work hard, and so yes, sometimes things are not done exactly the way that they're supposed to be done. We don't do it intentionally. We don't do it maliciously. And so we're just asking for fairness, and there are other dilapidated properties in this town. And if you were to put them up to our property, ours might actually look good. I realize we are on the road, but you know what? Why doesn't everybody have to keep up their properties? You know, I realize that we can't make people do it, but we can be a town where we can try to make our properties look nice so that others would want to do it and follow the same things. And so it's been real hard for me not to say a word. I'm not a person that likes to stir up trouble. I'm a peacemaker. But I do feel for my husband, because he really has not done, now yes, he's got a hot temper. You know, he's got a hot temper. But when you feel like you're attacked and attacked and attacked, and you get one thing done and there's something else, and I would rather know that somebody on this committee is looking at our property and talking to us than somebody that is not on this committee. We don't need somebody going around looking at our properties and telling other people about our properties. We know it. We know it. We know the house needs something done to it. We started working on it in COVID, and I ended up in the hospital having back surgery because I was trying to help do that property. So I just wanted everyone to know that Tim and I, and we're willing to help anybody here in this room. We're willing to help anybody. All you have to do is ask. We would never tell somebody no unless it's something that we can't tell a bride. We can't do her wedding because we got to go cut somebody's grass. But I'm willing. I'll do whatever. We're both hard workers. And we want to be a part of Lula, but I've gotten to the point where Lula does not feel like a home to me. And it's sad. It's sad because we're trying. We tried. I mean, we've been here now 14 years, and we've tried, and I feel like that we've been attacked. Like, I don't know why we've been singled out, but we've been singled out. And it's very hurtful. And I mean, I would like to be able to say nice things some favor. You know, before you, like, just point out certain people and just keep going at them.
Thank you, Harriet. Can I give a shameless plug to Lodge Montana? That's the name of the place in Cornelia. It's a beautiful place, and everybody's ever heard of it. It's a beautiful place up there. Thought I'd throw that in for you. Anybody else? Here.
My name's Keith Jones. I live at 6054 Tomb Street. Been here for 23 years. I moved to this town and felt like home. My daughter's graduated over here in Lula Elementary. My grandkids over there now. This is my home. And I've been encouraged tonight because I've been a little discouraged. But I do believe that we're in capable hands. I honestly do. Every one of them. And I've had conversations regarding it in the Waffle House. I've had conversations with Dennis behind closed doors. I've had conversations with Joe. I've had conversations with Gene. And it's been very aggravating to be a citizen of this town. I live here, I work here for 6 years, and I worship here in the same church for 15 years. And I have personally drove the church bus and was involved in many youth ministries over here at our church. I know a good bit about this town, inside and out, behind the scenes. I don't say a lot. But I've had these kids on my church bus. I know where some of them come from. I know their struggles. And yes, I've been aggravated, and I'm going to tell you guys straight up why. The code enforcement in this town has not been consistent for years. It has not. Fortunately, just to be perfectly honest, and we've all been honest tonight, I've been working here for 6 years. I still run part of my commercial landscape company, and I've still started an investment company back up. Plus, my wife goes to Marietta every day. Got up at 4 o'clock in the morning for 25 years. We obviously love this town, folks, or she wouldn't be making that drive. And I say this for a reason. And I'm going to choose my words wisely tonight. Yes, I called a prominent citizen in this town, and I asked him, I said, do you think my road ought to be paved? And he said, yes. Well, I'm from the old school, and in my mind, that just meant it was going to get paved. And I haven't handled that right, and I apologize. But I trusted him. When he told me, yes, it needs to be paved, I just assumed it was going to get paved. But that's just my way of thinking. But I guess I need to get off my butt and go through the proper channels to get it done, and I apologize for that, to each and every one of you. And yes, I've known Mr. Wood for 23 years. And yes, he's very opinionated, but he's my friend. And I don't agree with everything he does, and he doesn't agree with everything I do, Dennis. And yes, I walked in Dennis's office behind the scenes and said, let me tell you something, Dennis. This is the mayor issue out here full time. I said, you're not the only one that has a brain around this town. Did I not? You remember that?
Not directly, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
So we've had several conversations, Your Honor.
Sure,
Okay.
encourage it.
Sir?
I said we encourage it.
Yes. And my point is this. With the full-time mayor thing, okay? I think what the citizens want is just Joe to be more involved and not put all the responsibility on Dennis sometimes. Because every time you, as a citizen, it's like, see Dennis, see Dennis, see Dennis. And Dennis has to, that's what I told you, he has to handle everything. And yes, I get frustrated at Dennis, and he probably gets frustrated at me, but I don't disrespect him. But if he thinks I won't tell him what's on my mind, he's wrong. I will. Just like you are. And so I'm glad tonight that people, I think, understand that we do support Joe. Full-time mayor or not, we just want to be connected with our elected officials, our mayor. And quite honestly, I'm not on Facebook, and I'm not going on Facebook about this stuff, but I'm going to tell you straight up what I hear is, you know, Dennis is not an elected official when he's been running the town. That's what you hear. I don't think it's personal with Joe or Dennis, or anybody else, folks. I just think that people want to just be connected with their elected officials and be connected with you, Joe, whether you're full-time or not. And, you know, I apologize for not handling the road situation right. I'll go to the council and I will go through the proper channels and we'll get it handled one way or the other. And thank you for Garnet for listening in the Waffle House. I've said publicly, you take care of your property and you're a good man.
Thank you.
Gene, I like Gene, I'm gonna be honest. First time I met Gene, you know what Gene told me about code enforcement? Why I got upset. Can I have a minute? Am I talking too much?
Go ahead.
I'm just asking. I don't want to be out of turn. I promise. But when I first met Gene, what he told me was, he said, if I have a problem with my code enforcement, his first words, he said, if I have a problem with code enforcement, then I expect I'm going to have to handle it. That's why I started trusting him with code, with those issues. And when the first investigation came, I'm going to be honest with you. Dirty politics in Lula, and I'm thinking, this code enforcement has been handled right for years in this town. That's just my thoughts, guys. And I'm not going to pin it all on him. That first investigation, and I stand publicly on that. Because they're right. I have another friend who is my friend, actually. And his property is deplorable. And you know what I told him? I said, you need to put up a fence. At least put up a fence and do something. Clean up the right of way. And you're right. And Denise and I just don't talk. We back up what we say. I have a landscape business. I'll volunteer, me and one of my guys, I'll cut somebody's grass one night a week. I'll lead it. I'll start. If they can't afford to get their grass cut and Doug needs to give them a ticket. Y'all can put me on the list. I'll volunteer one night a week. And I'll help them. Because we need to get this code enforcement under control and be fair for everybody. And I appreciate your time, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Anybody else? I guess it's our turn.
Let's start Tony this time.
Tony, y'all just remember Tony. He had to leave suddenly to get home. So.
His wife had surgery today. It's probably something to do with that, I'm thinking. All right, Denise, we'll go with you.
I want to thank everyone for coming out. Thank you for your opinions. I know it got a little heated at times, but other than the little heated moment, thank you for being respectful of each other's opinions, because that's what we need. We need to be respectful of each other. And I'm here. I know there's just been so much on Facebook, and I'm going to tell you, it's weighed on me because I feel like I've been indirectly called names, whether it was intentional or not. But be mindful of what you say, because you don't know how people's going to perceive what you're saying when you're on Facebook. Facebook is not a good platform to air your opinion sometimes. Sometimes less is more. And I'm free for conversation, and I put this out there, and that's my only comment I put on there. Contact your representatives. Even the ones that's not your representative, any of us will talk to you. And that, if you do that, that will lessen the rumors, because you'll know the facts instead of what this one said, and this one said, and this one said. Because I'm a citizen myself, and a lot of your concerns, those are my concerns. It affects me also. So I'm not up here to make your life hard, because when I make your life hard, it makes my life hard. I don't want city taxes either. So you just remember that we're all facing the same consequences that you feel you're facing. So we're not going to do anything to intentionally put a burden on you. Sometimes things are out of our hand, and there's times that we go home sleepless nights for choices that we have to make. Because sometimes our choices will affect only 2 or 3 citizens, but it's the best for the most. And that's a hard choice to make. We have sleepless nights for some of our decisions. And so just remember that we're human up here, and that we are part of you. and that we love you, and that what we do is because we love you, because we don't get paid good. Just put that out there. But thank y'all for coming.
Denise? All right, Dean?
Well, I don't think everybody was coming, even the ones who was talking me down. I appreciate them coming and airing their opinion. Y'all come back and give us y'all more of your opinion. Thank y'all for coming.
Garnet?
Yes, that's me. I've been out there 56 years in the same spot. Anybody don't know, just come on in, pull in, talk to me. I'll be happy to help you. I'm in there for everybody, not just Council Post 4. I have never refused a phone call or returned one back. If I'm not at home, leave it on the answering machine. I'll get back with you. Thanks for coming. Crowd looks good. Come on back next month.
I've been here 56 years too, that's a long time.
Right.
Chip?
Chip?
Yes, sorry. I'm grateful that we have the turnout that we've had tonight. Regardless of any disagreements or heated discussions that we may have had, sometimes that's what you have to do to get to the crux of the issue and to get to the truth. It's not easy. First of all, Mr. Hall, I'd like to also offer my apologies to you for being heated. I swore to myself before coming in, because I had a feeling it might. I said, don't do it, Chip, don't do it, Chip, don't do it, Chip. I did it anyway. So y'all want to know what one of my weaknesses is? You saw it tonight. But it's because I'm passionate about this town, this community, and I can tell from the raw emotions there's a lot of people that are passionate about this town. That's a common ground that we all need to figure out a way to just grab a hold of and embrace. Regardless of our other differences, we are all passionate about this town. So I would hope that we can all find a way to come together and continue to make this small community the amazing community that my wife and my family and I have come to love. With that said, again, hope that you all come back next month. Bring a friend. The more people that we have, the more we'll know what the pulse of the town is. Also know that all of our committee meetings, whether we choose to have them all shoved into a special work session or whether it's a separate committee meeting, they're all put out there to the public for the public to know about, because you're all invited. I will tell you the only thing different about the committee meetings is there are no citizen comments. Even myself as a councilman, if I want to go to the finance committee, I can't say anything. I can just observe. But that's where you learn, is when you go to those committees. So I would ask you, if you really want to know what's going on, come to the council meetings and you can hear the discussion. You can hear the hard choices sometimes that we have to make. And it makes a little bit more sense. But with that said, thank you all for coming out. I hope that everybody has a wonderful evening. Be safe going home, and look forward to seeing you guys next time around.
Thanks, Chip. Well said indeed.
Thank you.
Let me get my list out here, folks. I got to speak. No, I do not. I do want to second what Chip just said. Everybody's invited and welcome to attend our committee meetings. They're committee meetings. There's only 3 of us plus Dennis during this committee meeting. You're not allowed to speak during the meeting, but you'll learn from the meeting, and after the meeting you can chew us out. It's that simple.
Please don't do that.
But don't do it. But you have the right to. But during the committee meetings, we're discussing among ourselves. But after the meetings, you've heard what we got to say. You can hit us in with your comments. Anytime you want to give us your comments, you can. I've got an email address at City Hall. Y'all want to send me an email? You call me at City Hall. I've got a city phone. I'll give the number out if anybody wants it. Now, Garnet, I know, has got a city email address. Denise got a city email address.
I think we all do.
They all do.
We all have.
But it's not on, yeah, we're gonna try to get it on the website, because yours, I noticed today your email's not on the website. So, I don't know, we gotta get the website updated, get everybody's contact information on that. So, but that's.
Mark's gotta get home.
My wife says it's getting late.
I think Dennis has probably got his on silent, but I'm sure Sandy's called here about 4 times already, if I'm not mistaken.
Twice.
Okay, I missed the number, bud. Unfortunately, my wife's sitting here, so she knows where I'm at. She knows where I'm at. So. But I do want to thank all y'all coming. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we've got some more chairs. So y'all think it's full now? We got some more chairs. You can bring some more people, and we can find somewhere to sit them. And if we have to, we got another option. If it gets big enough, we got another option, don't we, Joey? So, I think that's all. That's all I'm going to say for tonight. I think I had a speed. I did have a speed find up, and I'm not going to say it. I'm going to leave it all for tonight. Y'all, appreciate y'all coming. Appreciate your feedback. And as Brian knows, I've already told everybody, I'm not going to be the full-time mayor. I wasn't going to be anyway. You got it in quote on an article. I said I will not be the full-time mayor. So there's no surprise to me here. You're not hurt my feelings one bit. Says no hard feelings. Don't get mad. You just let that go on. It's history. It's done with. Let's go into something constructive. Okay. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
A second.
Motion made by Gene Brown and second by Chip Forrest to adjourn. All in favor?